Right, final question. Are you ready?
Yeah!
On the road, not in DC now, we're in Mississippi.
We're not going to tax the life out of you. Come to Mississippi.
What's going on in Mississippi? It feels like it's a state on the up.
It's now the second fastest growing bit of the United States. Does it feel like that?
Yes, sir.
Americans are 40% richer than Brits.
Yes, we have a good time.
The North saved the Republic, and Mississippi will save the Republic now.
This is my first tailgate. I have never seen anything like this.
They don't have something like this in London.
No, nothing like this.
I think the best is yet to come.
I'm very glad that I wore a red tie.
Britain has to ask itself, is our way of life worth preserving?
It's going to be quite the party.
What can I say? Can't compete with that.
Hello, welcome to Harry Cole Saves the West. Not in Washington, D.C. tonight, but from Mississippi. Now, for as long as I can remember, Mississippi, this part of the Deep South, has been a byword for American poverty. But something's happening here, something remarkable. Mississippi is growing. Household incomes here grew by 6% last year, putting them the second highest growing state in the entire of America. It's a state on the up, and it's a state ripping up the old rules. How have they done it? Well, they've introduced a radical flat tax, they've shredded regulation, they've slashed energy bills, and they've reformed their education system. Along with neighbouring state Alabama, they're building more cars than the entire UK put together. Britain, meanwhile, is stuck in a doom loop. Crippling taxes, endless red tape, the cost of living crisis that just won't die. We're just told that's the way things are. But here, they're doing things differently. And we're here to talk to the people driving this change, about how they've done it and what comes next.
So I'm afraid I couldn't wait. We've come to the Pig and Pint barbecue restaurant in Jackson, Mississippi. I've got my pig, I've got my ribs, I've got my brisket, I've got my PBR. Now, this cost me $20, which I think is a pretty reasonable price tag. Now, in 2007, the average American was 10% richer than the average British worker. Now, that's 40%. An astonishing statistic. Even in Mississippi, which is, on paper, one of the poorest parts of America. GDP per capita, that's per head, is bigger than in Britain. Now, economists quibble over the numbers and they say you can't make a like-for-like comparison, but if you strip out London, there is clear evidence that people in Mississippi are doing better than the average Brit. And the numbers are quite startling. $53,000 per capita, that's around £38,000. That's in Mississippi. That drops to £37,658 in Britain. Food for thought when we're looking at how Mississippi is getting growth going and Britain flatlines. We're going to look at how they're going to do it. But in the meantime, I'm going to eat my barbecue.
Business is good. Improving. Well, summer times are our busier times, so we're headed towards downslope, but still doing fine.
So you're busy every night?
Well, for the most part, it's kind of slowed down because it's an outside restaurant, and so it's kind of colder. But during the warm days, it's awesome. Very busy.
People feel like they've got money for eating out and drinking beer, eating barbecue.
Yeah, I love it here. I love my job.
How about the city and how about the state of Mississippi?
Mississippi City, girl, yes, I love Jackson. It's where I grew up in. I don't like the state. I don't like the United States.
Do you feel like it's been a good year that Jackson is a wider city, Mississippi is a wider state?
State, I pretty much stick around here for the city, yeah. This is an up-and-coming neighborhood. There's another couple of up-and-coming neighborhoods, a lot of development, so yeah.
It has gotten safer over the past couple years.
Yeah.
They're really cracking down on like law enforcement and stuff like that. Police presence and things of that nature. I feel like it has gotten better over the years.
I see cranes, building developments, people moving here. Where are they moving from? Other bits of Mississippi or?
Mostly other parts of Mississippi. Some out of state, not out of state.
You moved to Jackson. What made you move here?
To change my life, just to fresh start.
And is it a fresh start? This town feels like it's on paper. It feels like it's booming.
Yeah. As far as the restaurant, yes, sir.
What's the toughest? Is it wages? Is it taxes, bills?
I tell you, bills and taxes, really all of it. Economy should form over here.
On paper, it says that this part of the world has grown 6% in the last year. It's now the second fastest growing bit of the United States. Does it feel like that?
Yes, sir.
I mean,
Are you feeling that?
statistically, probably, yeah, probably it's because we're the hospitality state, so we have a lot of stuff to do with people and like, I don't know, pleasing people, like souls and food and stuff like that. So I just see how it would say that on paper, but it doesn't feel nothing.
What's bringing them to Jackson?
I guess.
Apart from the barbecue.
Yeah, development.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And jobs?
Jobs because of the development, yes.
Mississippi grew by 6% last year. It's the second fastest growing state in the whole of the United States.
Which I did not know.
Does it feel like it's a city on the up?
In certain neighborhoods, yes.
Yeah.
Like where we are here, fantastic neighborhood. This one, there's another neighborhood called Belle Even down the road. Very up and coming.
Has it got any easier over the last few years, or has it got on?
It's 50-50.
What's going well?
I feel like gas is better.
Yeah.
Gas is better. Other than that, I think that's pretty much it. I feel like gas is better, but wages could be a little higher.
The average Mississippian worker's better off than the average GDP. The size of the economy of that is per head bigger than the United Kingdom.
Actually, would surprise me.
Because it's traditionally a state associated bigger by medical table, but it's moving up.
Right. We've always kind of been forgotten, so
Yeah.
it's good to be acknowledged.
Welcome to Downing Street. Not London, but Jackson, Mississippi. But what policies from this Downing Street can they learn back home? Well, in 2021, the Mississippi state government embarked on a massive reform of the labour market. They made it easier to come and live and work in Mississippi. Qualifications from around America were recognised here so people could move here quickly and earn here. And it worked. The following year, they embarked on tax reform, introducing a 4% flat tax, with plans to phase out income tax at a state level completely in the coming years. Following that, there was radical reform of the energy market, keeping bills down. And this year has been focused on education reform. But is it working? This remains in a very impoverished part of America, but business leaders insist it's going to trickle down. Gerard Gibert, you've made your life, your career, your business in this state. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I first of all love Mississippi. I am a son of the great state of Mississippi, born and raised here by two wonderful parents who nurtured me and mentored me and gave me a great home environment that I believe is the foundation for my business and professional success.
The story that people are picking up on here, though, is that one of the poorest states in the Union is seeing a remarkable amount of growth. It's the second fastest growing state last year, 6% on GDP. That's growing faster than California. How has it been done?
Well, first of all, Mississippians have a fantastic work ethic. So everybody pulls their weight, believes in contributing to the betterment of society. But I think that in landing many of these economic development projects and huge capital investments as we have the last few years, I think that's a function of these companies learning what we Mississippians have always known, that this is really a fantastic place to set up shop and do business. And the message is getting around, we're getting noticed, and when you get one breakthrough that and say, hey look, we think we're going to make an investment in Mississippi, other potential suitors pay attention to that, and I think what we've got is kind of a springboard, a cascading effect. I think the best is yet to come.
How much of that is down to the government and how much is that down to business? Because obviously Mississippians have had the biggest tax cut in their history 3 years ago, a 4% tax, flat tax across the state. The labour market reforms look to me like a sort of hotbed of free market reform experimentation. Has it worked? Are people feeling it, or is it just businesses that are happy?
Yeah, well, the first thing I would say about that is that we are still the poorest state from a per capita and household income perspective, but I believe that is about to turn. I think that we're about to ascend that ladder, and the way to do that is to grow the state's economy. In fact, it's my view it's the only way to do it. Now, this building back here, there are no laws they're going to pass that are going to eliminate poverty. There's just nothing that's going to happen. But what they can do is create the environment through responsible, good, conservative policy that encourages business investment and growth and promotes it. And as you said, in eliminating the state's income tax and really reducing the onerous regulations and shortcutting the permitting process, all of those policies have been critical in our landing this huge capital investment.
So 78,000 jobs have been created here in the last decade. A lot of them in the last, a lot of that proportion of that in the last 5 years. For listeners and viewers back in the United Kingdom, that's the equivalent of a town the size of Scunthorpe now employed. The benefits of that, in making it easier to people to move here from around the United States, the qualification bonfire of regulations, recognising statewide qualifications, is it working, or is there something else behind this growth?
No, I think it absolutely is working, and in addition to that, we need a skilled workforce as well. Employers demand that. There's been a huge focus in the state of Mississippi on the part of the education community and the government as well to really focus on workforce development. We have great programs in the state. We have fantastic world-class community colleges and institutions of higher learning. They're turning out unbelievably qualified, very talented graduates.
And are the jobs there for them, or are you training people here and then they're leaving Mississippi?
Yeah, so that's an issue. We still have a significant amount of brain drain, but we're starting to turn that around by landing businesses that do require the sort of skills that our schools are turning out. Our community colleges and our K through 12 institutions, though, are highly focused on training the students for the jobs that are available in the state of Mississippi. And most importantly, what I've seen in Mississippi that I'm so proud of is this collaboration between the educational community and the private sector. There was a time when there was a firewall between those. The education establishment just taught whatever they wanted, whether or not that's what we needed in the workforce or not. And we had private sector employers saying, well, you guys are turning out people that can't do the jobs we need. They're working together now to create curricula that I think are preparing students for the jobs of the future.
One of the most interesting reforms that's going on behind the scenes, behind those doors behind us and across this state, is on the education reforms, allowing parents and communities and businesses to bypass the state, essentially, to take their pupils out of the state system, but allow them to continue to access taxpayer-funded, and I think it's about $7,500 per pupil per year. That's a pretty radical reform. But does it encapsulate the sort of idea of actually just getting the state out of the way and letting people on the ground decide how best to spend taxpayers' money?
We have made some minor strides in what you're referring to. We call it school choice, of course. We've made some minor strides there, but we've stopped short of the neighboring states of implementing and enacting universal school choice. Our Speaker of the House is highly focused on that. It is a priority. Our governor is fully behind it. We still have some challenges in our Senate with the Lieutenant Governor to get that through. That's going to be front and center, the top issue in the legislature this year. I personally believe that parents and caretakers are better suited to make decisions about the education of their child than the government is. And right now, we're attaching them to a public school based on their address, nothing more but their address. We've got to do what the president would like to see done, what our neighboring states have done, and implement full universal school choice.
What do you say to organisations like the European Union, my own home country of the United Kingdom, who seem to be hurtling in the other direction? They're putting up taxes, they are increasing regulation, they're making it harder to move around countries and recognise qualifications. Would you say Mississippi is a sort of example of how to do it compared to ever-increasing, burdening state interventions?
Yeah, without a question. The less the government is involved in the private sector, the more productive and the more robust will the private sector be. We still have a lot of work to do there, but I think good conservative lawmakers, both at the state and federal level, understand that. I've always believed as a business person, as an entrepreneur, that it's faith, confidence, and certainty. That's what drives risk-taking, investment, job creation, wealth creation. The same as one would operate their household. If you don't have confidence about your future in your household, you tend to hunker down and not make big-time purchasing decisions. But when you have confidence And I think that passing the Trump tax cuts, enacting those, the One Big Beautiful Bill Act as it is known, that made those permanent, I think we're going to reap the rewards of that really getting underway next year. And the same in Mississippi.
Are people feeling it though? Obviously, we've discussed it's obviously still a very poor part of the United States. It's still one of the poorest states, despite that economic growth. People say, yeah, you know, they see some improvement, but they're still struggling. They say the only thing that's going for them is the price of gasoline, and if it wasn't for that, they'd be in real trouble. Prices, groceries are still high. The cost of living is high. How do you sell these technical sort of business reforms to ordinary people on the street who, you know, would listen to you about everything going well and brilliantly and think, well, hang on, my household income isn't looking so good. I don't have that confidence.
Yeah. So here's the deal. We have, I think, arrested this runaway inflation when we had the 9% inflation in 2022 under the Biden administration, really bad policies that drove that.
And COVID and the cost of energy.
That's right. All the above contributed to that. But now we're at about 3%, still a little too high for our liking. We'd like to get that down to what's known as the normal rate of 2%. That's what the Fed's looking for. But if we can keep it at that level while our economy grows, and as our economy grows, so do wages. So we get to a situation where we experience what's called growth in real wages. That's inflation-adjusted wages. I don't think we've yet started to experience the benefits of the One Big Beautiful Bill Act and other policies that are going to contribute to that. This explosion of artificial intelligence that's driving lots of capital investment and job creation in this country. We haven't begun to realize that.
But could you ever imagine, you know, when you were starting a business here 20, 30 years ago, that that Mississippi would have a higher GDP per capita than the powerhouses of manufacturing in Europe?
No, I would not. And I think that's a testament to the state of Mississippi and this country adopting more free market policies, whereas what we've seen in the EU is just the opposite. They've gone in the other direction.
We tried to get out. We tried, but we didn't do the reforms required.
Just seems like they're more reliant on government.
That must make you incredibly proud, though.
It's yes, there's no doubt. It's a point of incredible pride. And in the state of Mississippi, again, even though we still lag with respect to per capita and household income, I actually believe that we're going to come off the bottom. I think that the economic growth that we're experiencing, I have an idea that I've promoted on my show in the past, and I've talked about it in this building behind us privately, is that in both of the chambers behind us, I think we ought to install giant digital signage that continuously displays the state's household income, median household income, and per capita income, and our national rank. And every piece of legislation that these lawmakers consider that comes before them, they should look at that sign and determine how's that going to affect that, because that's when Mississippi will truly achieve its fullest potential. I think we're well on our way.
What do you say to someone, you know, a young thruster who's being taxed out of existence, has a new socialist mayor in New York who's only going to put taxes up further, rents are incredibly expensive? What do you say to a young entrepreneur or a young business person looking to make their life? You know, Mississippi's clearly the way to do it.
Come to Mississippi, where you don't have to deal with all that. We're not going to tax the life out of you. That's the first thing. We want you to succeed. We want you to thrive. We want you to create jobs. We want you to produce wealth and economic activity. So here's the way I describe it. We want to grow the pie. What we're witnessing in New York, and really I think it's kind of integral to the Democrat economic mantras, they just look at recarving the pie. They never talk about expanding.
Well, slice ever-increasing amounts off the top of the pie, right?
That's exactly right, in their personal pockets often. But we want to talk about expanding the pie, not just recutting the pie. And that's what they're talking about in New York. I actually believe that Mondami was kind of swept into office, not because the voters, especially the young voters, and not that they support government-run socialism of the economy. What they really want is what I call transferism. They just want, you got more money than me, give me some of yours.
Well, you can make the case, though.
They don't want to surrender their freedoms.
But you can
that
make the case,
socialism
though,
causes.
and people on the right are starting to make this case, is, well, how can you defend capitalism when you have no stake in it? You know, if you can't get a house, you can't raise a family, you can't get the job you wanted, you're being taxed out of existence, you've been sold a pup on to take out massive amounts of graduate debt for a job that lands you in a job that you could have got without a degree anyway, and then you're saddled with this huge amounts of debt. Making the case for capitalism is as important, or making people feel part of that system that brings people up, is where the right have got this wrong over the years.
Yeah, I think that
Especially younger people.
What's missing in that is that we have ventured too far to the left, and we have allowed government to insert itself too much in our capitalistic system. You made the reference to education. Education wasn't all that expensive until the government got involved in it. So all the other aspects of what you were discussing that are, I guess, preventing those in this country from realizing and experiencing the benefits and bounty of capitalism, that's because there's too much government involvement. Get out of the way, government, and let the markets work. You know, there was a famous economist who said, capitalism is really a challenging economic system, except it's just better than all the others. So what do they want? Government to come in and control it more? That's what you've experienced in the EU, and I don't think that's worked out very well. So we need to get government to back out of our economy and of our lives and let people produce and pursue happiness.
Well, it's certainly hopefully working here in Mississippi. Gerard, thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Harry.
So that was Jackson, the state capital of Mississippi. We're going to hit the road now, head out into the Magnolia State, because while the economy is booming, something else is booming in this state at the moment, and that is college football. And I'm off to my first tailgate. Don't go anywhere.